Chapter 1. The Benevolent King. In the heart of the prosperous kingdom of Sham, there reigned a wise and benevolent king. His people adored him for his kindness, fairness, and unwavering dedication to their well-being. The kingdom thrived under his rule, flourishing with wealth, peace, and harmony. Among the king's many passions, none was greater than his love for nature. Within the palace grounds lay a grand royal garden, unlike any other in the world. It was filled with exotic flowers, ancient trees, and plants so rare that travelers journeyed from distant lands just to behold their beauty. Every evening, after offering his Maghrib prayer, the king would take a solitary walk through his garden, finding solace amidst its enchanting splendor. Chapter 2. The Vision of the Fairies. One fateful night, after his usual stroll, the king performed the Isha prayer and retired to his chambers. As soon as he drifted into slumber, he found himself in a dream more vivid than any before. In a sky bathed in celestial light, 4 ethereal fairies descended gracefully, their shimmering robes trailing golden dust. Their radiant presence filled the air with an unearthly glow. The first fairy lifted her hands, and from the very earth, a golden stem emerged, glistening in the moonlight. The second fairy whispered ancient words, and silver branches sprouted from the stem, twisting elegantly toward the heavens. The third fairy, with a flick of her delicate fingers, brought forth diamond-like leaves that sparkled as if woven from the stars themselves. Then, as the king stood mesmerized, the fourth fairy spun gracefully in the air and transformed into a resplendent red apple, hanging from the magical tree's highest branch. Before the king could marvel at this spectacle, a sudden gust of wind heralded the arrival of a monstrous creature. With bat-like wings and glowing crimson eyes, the beast descended upon the sacred tree. It let out a deep growl before snatching the apple in its gnarled claws and devouring it in one ravenous bite. Instantly, the tree trembled. The fairies gasped, and darkness began to creep into the dream. The king awoke with a start, his heart pounding. What could this vision mean? Was it a mere dream or a warning of something greater? Chapter 3. The prophecy unfolds. Restless and troubled, the king summoned his wisest scholars and ministers the next morning. He described the dream in great detail, but none could decipher its meaning. Finally, an elderly sage with eyes filled with ancient wisdom stepped forward. "Your Majesty," he said in a grave tone, "this is no ordinary dream. It is a prophecy. A tree of immense power is hidden within your land. If it falls into the wrong hands, great calamity will befall the kingdom. You must find it before the dark forces do." The king, now more determined than ever, vowed to uncover the mystery of the enchanted tree. Chapter 4. The Discovery of the Hidden Sapling. The search began at once. The king, accompanied by his most trusted men, scoured every corner of the royal garden. Days passed with no sign of the mystical tree, until one evening, an unseasonal wind howled through the palace grounds. At the center of the garden, the earth cracked open, revealing a faint golden glow beneath the soil. The king's heart raced. "Dig here," he commanded. The guards worked swiftly, unearthing a small but radiant sapling. Its slender stem shimmered with gold, its tiny branches already tinged with silver. The king recognized it instantly. This was the tree from his dream. Without hesitation, he ordered his royal gardener to nurture it with utmost care. Chapter 5. The Tree of Wonders and the Shadow's Return. Under the king's watchful eye, the sapling grew at an unnatural pace. Within days, its golden trunk stretched high, its silver branches extending like arms of divinity. Diamond leaves adorned its limbs, twinkling like the constellations. The kingdom rejoiced, believing the tree to be a divine blessing. But just as celebrations commenced, the sky darkened unnaturally. Ominous clouds gathered, and the air grew heavy with an eerie silence. A terrible screech echoed through the land. From the heavens, the monstrous entity from the king's dream emerged. Its name was whispered in forgotten legends: Malakar, the Devourer of Light. Malakar, a winged fiend of ancient curses, descended upon the tree with hunger in its eyes. It seized the enchanted apple and devoured it greedily. The moment the fruit disappeared into its maw, the kingdom trembled violently. The once lush garden began to wither, its flowers shriveling into dust. Rivers ran dry, the sky turned crimson, and despair spread like wildfire. The people panicked, fearing that their golden age had come to a tragic end. Chapter 6. The Return of the Fairies. The king, undeterred by the calamity, fell to his knees and prayed for divine guidance. As if answering his call, the four fairies descended once more, their presence bringing a fleeting moment of peace. "Your Majesty," one fairy spoke, "Malakar must not be allowed to consume the heart of this tree. If he does, eternal darkness will engulf the land." "But how do we stop him?" the king asked desperately. "The creature is bound by an ancient curse," another fairy explained. "Only a warrior of pure heart can defeat him." Summoning all his courage, the king grasped his sword, its blade shimmering in the dim light. With unwavering determination, he faced Malakar, ready for battle. Chapter 7. The Battle of Light and Darkness. A fierce battle erupted in the heart of the kingdom. Malakar roared, spewing dark fire. But the king stood his ground. The fairies, using their celestial magic, conjured protective barriers around him, allowing him to strike without fear. The clash was relentless. Every blow of the king's sword sent shockwaves through the land, while Malakar retaliated with shadows and fire. The battle raged until the fairies joined hands and chanted an ancient incantation. A blinding light erupted, engulfing Malakar. The beast shrieked as the magic bounded in chains of pure energy. With one final strike, the king drove his sword through Malakar's heart. The creature let out an earth-shaking roar before vanishing into the void, never to return. Chapter 8. The Dawn of a New Era. As Malakar's presence faded, the kingdom was bathed in golden light. The rivers began to flow once more. The garden bloomed in vibrant colors, and the magical tree stood tall, untouched by the devastation. The fairies, their mission complete, blessed the king. "You have proven yourself worthy, Your Majesty. This tree is now yours to protect for all eternity. Let it be a symbol of hope and prosperity." The king vowed to safeguard the sacred tree, ensuring that its magic would only serve the good of the people. From that day forward, Sham flourished like never before, and its legend spread far and wide. Epilogue: The Legacy of the Golden Tree. The king ruled wisely for many years, his name etched in history as the protector of the Tree of Destiny. Generations later, the story of his bravery and the enchanted fairies continued to be told, a tale of courage, sacrifice, and the triumph of light over darkness. The end.